If you want to get across Ireland quickly and travel between all the main destinations, then you need to know about the intercity trains. Today we'll be travelling from Galway in the west across the entire country to the Irish capital, Dublin. Our journey will take us through the countryside at up to 160 kilometres an hour, riding on one of these intercity railcar trains. So, let's take a look at exactly what it's like to travel across Ireland in the fastest way, as I make the journey on Iarnród to Dublin. Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm here at Galway Station in Ireland and I'm going to be catching the Irish Railways intercity railcar over to Dublin. This is going to be a nice journey across the length of Ireland. Let's go! Welcome to Galway Ceannt station, which despite its rather unassuming entrance would suggest, is one of the main terminus stations of Ireland. The station gets its name from Éireann Ceannt, an Irish Republican who took command of a battalion in the Easter Rising, making him one of the icons of Irish independence. At the station, there's a main hall featuring a display of local artwork. This continues into the waiting room, where you can see various posters from the Galway Art Festival. Beside the main hall, there's a little cafe, as well as a ticket office and ticket machines. Just outside this, you can find the city's bus station, which has long-distance services across much of the country, including frequent departures for Dublin. After a quick ticket inspection, we can head through to the train, for some reason parked as far away as possible. Galway Station consists of just two platforms, with Platform 1 being used for trains to Dublin and Platform 2 for local services to Athenry and Limerick. This trip will be operated by one of Iarnród Éireann's intercity railcar diesel units. Built from 2007 onwards by Hyundai Rotem of South Korea and Tokyo Car Corporation of Japan, the 63-strong fleet is used on most intercity journeys in the country. Interestingly, a similar design of train is also used on Ukraine's Intercity Plus service, serving the same purpose. Anyway, let's get on board. My seat today is in Coach C. These trains are composed of standard class seating only in a 2+2 layout mostly arranged around tables. The reservation screens display your name, so I knew to sit in seat 41. Today's route begins in Galway, the fourth largest of Ireland's 5 cities. We'll be heading east for most of the journey, calling at the junctions of Athenry and Portarlington, before a speedy non-stop run into Dublin Heuston. The journey is scheduled to take 2 hours and 34 minutes to cover the 209 kilometres or about 130 miles of track. Departure is on time at 11:05. You can hear the diesel engines beneath the carriage, because for some reason, Ireland's rail network is completely unelectrified.
Good morning and welcome aboard this 11:05 service to Dublin Heuston. We'll be calling at Iarnród, Athenry, Ballinasloe, Athlone, Clara, Tullamore, Portarlington and Dublin Heuston.
Unfortunately, I wasn't so lucky today, with the weather being typical of what you can expect in Ireland. Now that we're on the move, let's take a look around the interior. First up, the smart black leather seating, which I think looks very fancy indeed. For comfort, the seats are fairly comfortable. Nothing special, but more than adequate for this kind of trip. Every seat has an adjustable armrest, though these are quite hard plastic. Beneath the table, there's a 3-pin power socket for each pair of seats. Just next to this, you can also find one USB socket per seat. There's plenty of options for power here. We are now approaching Athenry. The station serves the town of the same name, as well as being an interchange for services to Limerick. It also used to see trains to Tuam and Claremorris until this route's closure in 1976. For luggage space, there's plenty of room in these sizable overhead luggage racks, with luggage stacks at the end of the carriage dedicated to heavier items. Due to much of the Irish network being single track, a lot of time is spent waiting for delayed oncoming trains, resulting in a delayed arrival into Dublin. Eventually, we call at Ballinasloe before running through what I thought was Athlone Station. It turns out that this structure was once the Midland Great Western Railway station in the city. This pleasant riverside station was shut in the 1980s, with the rather dull Great Southern and Western Railway station being used instead. This is just a couple of minutes away, and with its 3 platforms is Athlone's only station nowadays. It's also a junction for services towards Westport and Ballina. Something I found quite amusing was how much these units vibrate thanks to their diesel engine. It certainly made this bottle happy. As we are back on the move, let's take a look at the rest of the train's interior before we reach the fastest section of the journey. So it seems the train is really busy today. It's great to see that travelling by rail is so popular in Ireland, with almost every seat taken. Now onto the toilets, with one being found in each carriage. This toilet must have been feeling lonely, as it really wanted to talk to me.
To lock door and ensure privacy, operate door lock. To lock door and ensure privacy, operate door lock.
Anyway, the soap, water and hand dryer were all working well, and overall the toilet was clean. The only issue I had here was the foul smell. Oh, and by the way, normally a trolley service would be provided on board, selling drinks and snacks. However, due to everyone's favourite excuse, I'm sure you can guess what that is, this was not available today. The train is fitted with free Wi-Fi, which requires email verification. Normally I found Éireann's Wi-Fi to be very fast, however this ride was a little bit patchy. We soon arrive at Tullamore. Here we can see a short freight train, which was actually the only one I saw in Ireland, where the rails seem to be used almost exclusively for passenger transport. The next station is Portarlington. This junction station also serves the line towards Cork and Limerick, and is the final intermediate stop for this journey. After departing from here, we run non-stop to Dublin Heuston. On this section of track, we are finally able to reach the train's top speed of 160 km an hour. Our train seems to have a tough time at that speed, giving a pretty rough ride overall. Just look at this water. Now on to how much I paid for this trip. I actually thought this was a pretty good deal, with my ticket costing €15.99. This price was for a so-called fully flexible ticket, which I think is a bit misleading, as you still have to travel on the train you booked, just with the option to change this an hour before departure. For this 130-mile journey, that gives a price per mile of about 11p, which I think is great value for money, especially as Ireland is a very expensive country in general. The price is also similar to the long-distance buses on the same route. To the right, you can see Iarnród's Inchicore Works, the country's main depot. A few abandoned locomotives and carriages can be seen here too. We are now on the approach to Dublin Heuston. In conclusion, I think the Iarnród InterCity service is a great way to cross Ireland at the fastest speed. However, there are a few problems I have, namely the lack of catering really not being acceptable anymore, the pretty rough ride, as well as the fact that all railways in Ireland are unelectrified. We arrive in Dublin Heuston with a delay of 15 minutes at 13:54. So what do you think of the Irish Rail InterCity experience? As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And for a look at the electric intercity trains in the Netherlands, click up here.